Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some drama right now when it comes to the Republican Senate Majority Leader. We are all hoping and praying with Donald Trump not only winning the election, not only winning all the swing states, but also winning the popular vote. He will have the final say in terms of his endorsement with many of these senators. And obviously, we're all hoping that it is Rick Scott. It's going to be a lot easier for Donald Trump to put forth and enact a lot of the policies that he wants to in a painless manner. And it should be a painless matter when it comes to the Senate, considering Republicans will be controlling it 53-47 with McCormick winning. That's being finalized right now. Casey is a sore loser. These Democrats want to recount. You take a look at what's happening in Wisconsin with Hovde. It's very, very sad. But take a look at this. Politico, there is now internal backlash building against conservatives vocally supporting Rick Scott for the Senate Majority Leader. Quote, the bulk of Republican rank and file is not pleased at all. We spoke with one senator who was against the effort, as well as a GOP aide who said the campaign is pissing off senators whose votes Rick needs to win. Senators do not take kindly to having an army of social media trolls attack them. And it's really not trolls. I mean, this is just the Republican Party. They're a lot more aggressive now. They're a lot more vocal. They're way more vocal than they were in 2016. Remember 2016 with McConnell leading compared to where we are now. And you're seeing a changing of the guard. And a lot of these rhinos, a lot of these old style conservatives, one of the big problems with them is they were too conservative to the point where they didn't do anything. They're not going to like a lot of the stuff that Trump is going to be proposing, or at least it's going to be harder to get it passed. So obviously everyone wants Rick Scott. That's part of the MAGA movement or MAGA people. You're going to want Rick Scott to be the leader. He did win his race in Florida by around 13, 14 points. Basically performed as well as Trump. So that's very impressive. Obviously, winning Florida, Republicans, they have a stranglehold of that state right now, and they're going to have it for the foreseeable future. But you can see the interesting dynamics right now within the Republican Party. It's old versus new. New, meaning Donald Trump, just won by a record margin, a record amount of votes. Winning the popular vote hasn't been done by a Republican since '04. And these old people are very pissed off. And now you've got all these people. You've got Tucker Carlson. You've got Elon Musk. You've got many high-level MAGA influencers who've got millions and millions of followers coming out and saying it needs to be Rick Scott, not these rhinos. We thought we finally got rid of them when the Republicans and when Trump performed so well in this election and really vindicated himself when it came to the whole idea of Trump can't win, that style of, being a Republican, it's gone. Well, no, this is the new age. This is the new style. And that's why so many people are aggressive and they're angry and they're, sending, being like, listen, you look at some of these people that when they just got voted in, the people voted you in to put forth and to embrace and endorse the MAGA movement. That's why you got voted in. You're not going to sit here and vote for a rhino now that you got in. So, like, most of these people got in because of Trump. A lot of these senators, some of them won their races because of Trump, and now they're going to go and vote against his wishes, which I don't think is going to end up happening. And you can just see this is the betting dynamic right now between the three main contenders. I guess Cornyn would be slightly better out of the two rhinos, but you're going to want Rick Scott, right? And you can see Rick Scott, he's gone up. He was originally around 40%. Now he looks like he's trading around 63, 64%, although I guess he is down 7%. The hope here is, it was leaked, I think, yesterday by someone, maybe Benny Johnson, talking about how Rick Scott only had like 11 votes out of, I don't know how many votes were leaked, but apparently a lot of those minds are being changed if you look at the recent intel that I was able to see. Let me see if I could have it. This is a new Senate majority. Oh, this is just an Elon Musk poll. I mean, obviously, Rick Scott wins, and then 22% for other, like Rand Paul. Yeah, so it's very clear that everyone wants Rick Scott at this point. You do also, this was very sad. I'm going to continue. Look at this. Biden, you can tell he's about to fall, so he runs to try and not fall. This is painful to watch. It's like he's running to try and keep his balance. He's almost walking like a robot. Like, look at him. It's like you have to start running so you don't fall over because of the sand. Very, very sad. Very sad there. You've also got, this is an interesting thing. Trump should announce immediately, if you are here illegally and voluntarily, go back before Trump's inauguration on January 20th. You can come back legally by following the rules. If you have to be found and deported, you are persona non grata and will never be allowed back in. There's some issues with that. You couldn't listen. Some of these people, because they're so scared of Trump and ICE coming, they will self-deport and before Trump gets in. So that's going to help. Not a lot of them, but some of them will. But the issue is these people already committed crimes. You can't say you're going to come back in. Now you can incentivize them by saying, if you're illegal and you deport yourself, we will look and say maybe you'll move to the front of the line, but you have to have the strict when it comes to immigration. It needs to be strict. You can't just say, listen, if you self-deport yourself, we're going to let you back in guaranteed. But there is the idea to incentivizing it because it will be a costly endeavor. And of course, it's worth it. This is what Trump promised to do. It's funny that just the liberal gaslighting, they caused this issue. They opened the border when it was closed, when Trump was building the wall and we had the lowest illegal immigration. Then they open it and now we've got these 11, it's more than 11 million. We're going to get Trump's people to see what the actual numbers are on the illegals. I'm guessing it's 20 million. They're giving us, remember, the Biden administration has lied about everything. They lied about the jobs report. They lied about crime when they manipulated the data. And precincts stopped reporting. So do we really think they're being honest? Remember, the liberals use the number like it's 5 million illegals. Oh my God. We're going to see what the actual number is. But it's like they let all these illegals in and now they say, oh, it's too costly to deport them though. It costs too much money now. No, well then why were they let it in the first place? It's just horrible leadership and it's just total gaslighting. But when it comes to something like this, it would be good if a lot of them self-deported because it is going to cost money and you could incentivize it. I wouldn't say you're going to be let back in, but just by following the rules, I would say we'll take a look. It's selective immigration. The ones that definitely are assets and can contribute and are very smart and articulate, I would let them back in. And you know, people that have a proven track record, I guess if you're illegal, you don't really have a proven track record, but you have to try and get some of these people to self-deport themselves. And if you can incentivize it by saying maybe you'll have a better chance, as opposed to if we have to find you, you're going to be deported and you're never coming back. I agree with that part of it, to possibly incentivize some of these people to leave by themselves. We also have, Chuck Schumer possibly denying Dave McCormick's election victory. Look at this, breaking word out that senators are aligning their support. However, DC insiders are reportedly working around the clock behind the scenes. Americans are calling for Rick Scott to take the role as Senate Majority Leader, not the same old rhino. So yes, and the dynamic here is there's a lot of liberals that certainly do not want Rick Scott in this position. They view him as a yes man to Trump. And yeah, that's kind of the point. He's going to promote what we voted for. We voted for MAGA. We voted for that agenda. If we have the Senate 53-47 by flipping several seats while Trump wins the popular vote, we're going to want the Senate to fall in line with Donald Trump. That's the whole idea. And so it's obviously there are probably a lot of Democrats there or DC insiders that are trying to incentivize a lot of these Republican senators to not vote Rick Scott. That's just what happens behind the scenes. And if I was a Democrat, I'd do that as well. Any way to get in anything you can do to get in Trump's way. People say, well, it undermines checks and balances. Well, no, we won the Senate fair and square. And so now, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk and his power, I didn't really realize it until there's photos of Musk posing for photos with Trump's family. Musk has got power. Musk is saying it's got to be Rick Scott. It's basically all the Republicans online are going to say it needs to be Rick Scott. Those are not really the people that would be against it. It's more so the rhinos that aren't online. And they're like, well, we're being harassed by trolls. Well, no, that's just the new Republican Party. That's MAGA. That is what it is. We voted for MAGA, and so we want MAGA. And we want Trump. Trump's going to endorse, if he hasn't already, Rick Scott. People were saying, I think Charlie Kirk said, well, what about J.D. Vance? He could potentially do it. Even though he's the VP, it'd be a weird dynamic. Well, no, I don't think Vance would want to do that. It just wouldn't really work with his schedule. He would have to sit in on a lot of things he probably doesn't want to. And Vance really needs to be seen more in public rather than deal with matters in the Senate. So I think Rick Scott is the guy for sure. And they're probably going to bully this into happening. I would be shocked. The outcry would be so ridiculous, especially after such an amazing election victory. Although this is what we've seen from the Republican Party before. It's like, my goodness, you finally win the popular vote. You finally have control here, and you're going to shoot yourself in the foot by electing a rhino, and we're back to almost square one. Not totally, because at least Trump's in now, and you do have the Senate, so things undoubtedly will get passed, like pretty much all Republicans agreeing when it comes to the illegal immigration matter, but there's other things that Trump's going to want to do that would be a lot easier and more seamless with someone like Scott, or really it could be a number of people, Rand Paul, whoever, but he's the one that wants to do it. It would be a lot more seamless with him in position. So this is something that we'll watch. And then, of course, you got this from John Toon, who right now, if you look at the betting odds, would be number 2 behind Scott. And honestly, it's looking like it's going to come down to either Scott or Toon. Let's take a look at what he said. I'm guessing this is right after the Access Hollywood tape back in early October. Maybe I got my dates wrong, but Donald Trump should withdraw and Mike Pence should be our nominee effective immediately. So he wanted Mike Pence. Oh, it's got to be Rick Scott, man. And I think it will end up being him, by the way, with the amount of pressure. This is a different Republican Party. They want who they want, and there's this pressure dynamic that really didn't even exist in 2016. A lot of it in 2016 was kind of a, we didn't know we were going to be here type thing. Well, now, with Trump and the 4 years of experience in D.C. and winning the popular vote, it's a little bit different. It's a lot more almost like I'm going to put my foot down and I'm ready to govern. That's what it feels like, you know, this period in between winning and being the president. So being the president-elect, it feels different than it did in late 2016. But either way, guys, it is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.